Welcome to Narrative's Leadership Story Talks, where great leaders go beyond the bottom line to create lasting impact. Join hosts Jerome and Julienne Ryan as they uncover the stories behind real-world challenges, offering practical insights to help you lead with empathy, authenticity, and purpose. Each episode dives into how leaders use storytelling to build trust, foster connection, and inspire action. Whether you're navigating workplace dynamics, driving change, or building high-performing teams.
Hi, and welcome to Leadership Story Talks. I'm Jerome CEO of Narrative.
And I'm Julienne Ryan, and it's great to be here.
Yeah, great to see you again. This is a special episode. We wanted to reflect back on our experience that we had recently at the Storytelling Symposium organized by Dr. Anja Timmermann and her colleagues in Germany. For those of you who remember, or for those of you who don't know, actually, we had Anja on the podcast as a guest. She's an expert in storytelling, is a storytelling coach, looks at storytelling especially from a kind of scientific lens, and she helps scientists in Germany and in Europe talk about their work through stories, which, as you and I know, Julienne, is also a lot of the work that we do, trying to help people who don't necessarily have that skill built into their training acquire that skill of storytelling so that they can explain complex things that they're working on in a way that people will understand and connect with emotionally. So we were extremely happy to be invited to this Storytelling Symposium with lots of luminaries, and I invite everybody to go and check it out because it was really a great event, and I know you can access the library of recordings, including our session. But I know you had some reflections on the session itself and what it was like for you to prepare for it and to then execute.
Oh, my word. Yes, Jerome, that was a very graceful pivot there. First of all, you were a great wing person to have before me on this symposium because you talked about the narrative method, the listening, and how we do podcasts, and you did a graceful handover to me. I had made a commitment that I was going to use true personal stories and use something from childhood using my own voice and experience of a character that was in my old neighborhood. And I was using him to illustrate change management, to kind of say, like, sometimes our lessons are in really simple things. So what I'm sharing with you sounds very matter of fact. However, when you're getting in front of a mic, knowing you're talking to a global audience, that while most people were bilingual on this call thinking, how will this land? Will they have trouble understanding my pitch and the rate of speed at which I can talk and use my hand? Will they get my expressions? We don't have eye contact. We don't have breathing. We had no indication. Well, all I could think about is even the electronic translator must have been looking at the script going, well, this is a little different from the rest of the symposium. So having a sense of humor about it and thinking the best lesson we can do is we're showing up with our story and being authentic.
Yeah.
And I love one of the quotes from the narrative methodology is like, it's your story, you can't get it wrong. But when you're talking to the dark, it's a whole different feeling. But we had fun. At the end of the day, it was fun, and it really just I enjoyed that I took that risk, and and I watched it afterwards. It actually worked.
Right. And just for context, so you and I were part of a panel with two other people, and it's on Zoom, so you can't see the audience. You don't even know if there is an audience actually, because there was no interaction. There was no, it's not like you could see the audience on the screen, which you can sometimes see on Zoom. So sometimes when you're telling a story on Zoom, you can actually see facial reactions at least. But here, what you're talking about is really you just had me and two other people who were on the panel. And so the two other panelists, one of whom was the host, it's very hard to describe anyway what they're looking like because they're just kind of thinking about what they're going to say, really. That's at least my assumption.
Yes.
I don't know if you had that same assumption.
Yes, and to borrow the improv term, and in storytelling, we in the whole world of Zoom and any video, we are we are taught to look at the camera and to really just look at the camera where the natural inclination is to go look at human things. So
Yeah.
in all transparency, I was like, just focus on the lens. Don't
Mm.
look around. So I was
Right.
trying to like see if you guys were there, but I was like, just focus, just focus, just focus, and
Yeah.
keep at a normal, reasonable pace the humor. And humor is about hearing something land and that intimate exchange of receiving the audience's reaction.
Yeah.
So yeah, this whole experience taught me a lot. So it was kind of an act of bravery on my part to do this.
So,
And
so if we take a step back from the experience itself, how would you sum up um, like 3 or 4 lessons that you got from it?
all right. Listen to what your gut is telling you. And sometimes stories come out of the most amazing places that they're hiding in plain sight. And use something simple that's relatable because I wasn't trying to be something I wasn't. I wasn't going to say, and here's a lot of theories, et cetera. I was showing change and how people learn from each other by a leader among us. And the other thing is to practice, not to be rehearsed, but just to get a flow of how it's gonna land, and then I also tested it on you, so it's also seeing how do you think it's gonna be received. So there's a lot of pretend and practice that happens, and then you just have to go with your heart and just put your emotions in it and just bring it to life in a good way, and take a
Right.
chance. That's the other lesson. So thank you, Jerome, for always being very thoughtful about how you frame your questions.
You're welcome. So I have lost my microphone. It suddenly has switched to something else.
Okay.
Um,
Case in
so
point.
thankfully we were able to record this, but clearly what I thought was going to happen happened. Um, this is really weird. I guess you can still hear me.
I can. And the lesson is be prepared for the unexpected. When you do tech, when you're showing up, you think you have a vision of what the experience is going to be like, and something always happens, whether it's tech or human. And to figure out a way to work it into the equation. And people appreciate it when it's honest and they know you're doing things from the heart. I think that was the biggest lesson.
Great, great. Well, thanks so much for sharing that with all of us and with me. Yeah, and I can say from my perspective that your act of bravery paid off because it was very well received. I should say that to
Ah,
the
thanks.
audience, that the story itself was very well received and was a springboard for us to have a really productive conversation. And yeah, and I think for me the lesson is, if there is a story to tell that you've thought about and that is on point with the topic, then tell it, and yeah, take that leap, even if it's online, even if you're not able to see the audience, because that is the real difference maker between something you're going to remember and something you're not going to remember. And I know that everyone has remembers that, and the wonderful characters that you brought to life in that story. So once again, I want to encourage everyone to go to the Storytelling Symposium. You'll find that in the notes, and check out our panel. It's available in the library of that website. That will be once again in the notes. Really well worth spending a little bit of money on getting that video and the rest of the library of the Storytelling Symposium, because those were great resources.
One more thing, as I've said in the past, and it's gonna come to I mean, it's coming to me now. One of the things we endeavor to do in the narrative is simplicity of something that's in common, no matter where that person's background is from and what they experience, and that we all have something in common. And I think that was the aha moment I had pretty much at 3 in the morning one morning when I was saying, "What story can I use?" We all have had neighbors or teachers or experiences have informed it, and sometimes that's the bridge that we can use to start a deeper conversation and set the foundation. So in my case, I went back years and years and years to my old neighborhood, but it's finding that simple story and taking it forward from there. And by doing that, we build trust, and build a connection. And sometimes unexpected things can happen.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. Well, thanks so much. And thanks everyone for listening. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Julienne. And
Thanks.
I encourage everyone to go to our website, narrative.com, NARATIV.com, to learn more about how you can actually tell a story just like Julienne did during this symposium. We have lots of resources on the website, as well as ways to get in touch with us. So please do get in touch, whether you want to have some one-on-one coaching or group training for your team. We are always available and ready to listen. So again, that's narrative.com, NARATIV.com. And if you want to listen to more of these podcast episodes, just type in /podcast, and that's where you'll find our entire library of more than 160 episodes at this point.
Wow.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you next time. Thanks, Julienne.
For more information on the narrative listening and storytelling method and how it can help your business, go to narrative.com.